Hello and welcome to the ninth Pygame programming tutorial video. Now, if you remember, we were going to change up how the objective actually works. So instead of us getting a bunch of, weird errors, like when our words collide with it, that we don't, let's see if we can get some of this working. Maybe, maybe not. There we go. We kind of launch a bunch of the same letters at it at the same time, and we don't want to do that. So we're actually going to work on fixing that. And the first thing we need to do is change up how the collision works. So currently, for every bullet that's colliding, what we're doing is we're just adding the bullet's name and then redrawing our objective. This is not what we're going to do. What we have to actually say is we have to kind of specify what bullet we're looking for. And the bullet we're looking for is going to be the objective. It's basically the exact same thing that we have over here. So what we're looking for is this. So we can actually just copy it, probably easier to do it this way. So what we can say is if the objective win message, if this letter, so the objective win message at the length of the display message is equal to the bullet dot name, then that's the bullet we're looking for. In which case we can add the bullet to it. And what this is going to do is this is going to mean that the only bullet that actually will get collided, or the only bullet that will actually be added, is going to be the one we're looking for. But we have to change a couple other things, because we don't want the bullets to always delete when they hit it. We want to set this one to false. That means the bullets don't delete. The bullets will just, phase through it. They'll understand they're colliding and they'll be part of this collision list, but they won't delete themselves. We're going to delete it itself on its own. So when we look for all the bullets that are colliding, we're going to say, hey, is the bullet.name equal to the win message at the length of the display message, which is the current letter we're looking for? If that's true, then the objective display message, we're going to add the bullet's name, we're going to redraw, and then we're going to bullet.destroy. Destroy. And bullet.destroy is just going to take care of, killing the bullet. So what is bullet.destroy? Well, we actually need to create it. So it's over in the generic player. And let's find our bullet, set target update, and we don't actually have a destroy, so let's create one. So define destroy. Never in my life will I spell that right on the first try. Destroy. And all this thing is going to do is self.kill. And there we go. Destroy is just going to eliminate it. So now, if this works the way, well, I intend it to, then everything should be okay. So we hit space, 3 eyes got sent out. Now, we're still sending out the wrong number, mind you, because we haven't dealt with any of that, but only one collided. So see, we sent out a big army of Fs, and none of them actually collided. So that's actually awkward. The F should have collided properly. At least now you can see that the collisions, they don't matter. They're not going to count. I'm curious as to why the F isn't adhering to the rules. It's looking for F, but it's not ever finding it. Let's see. I bet that's in the generic player version of this. So let's see. Do objective, shot, add it to it. Set target, self.ammo, templater.upper. I don't know why it's not looking for F properly. That's a very good question. So we're looking for F, and we should be also looking for F over here. Display message, the length of it, since the display message changes. Oh, is equal to the bullet name. So if the win message is equal to the bullet name, this one has to be to the lowercase. So dot lower, or sorry, dot upper. Because we need to make sure that they're the same case. Case matters in this. Uppercase K and lowercase k are two different things. So the reason the first one worked is because our message is actually uppercase. So the first one understood. The I understands it's uppercase, however the F did not. So now we shoot out 3 I's, we have the I filled out. We shoot out a couple F's, the F is filled out. Now, it's actually displaying them all in uppercase because the bullets are all in uppercase and we're adding the bullet's name to the display message. So that's another issue that we might want to resolve. But at least now we have the display message working properly. Again, bullets that don't need to collide will not collide. And yeah, you can still use them as ammunition, shoot down those. Okay, I don't think we're actually getting any more different types of letters, so I was just testing to make sure it was working. So, bullet.destroy, this is working. Now, we need to make sure that they're not always uppercase. So, instead of just adding the bullet.name to this, so you see we plus equal the bullet.name, meaning that's what we add to our objective display message, it's probably better to actually add the objective win message at the length of the objective display message. And this way, when the bullet's name is equal to the objective display message at the win message, we're going to add that exact letter to it, and then we're going to redraw and destroy the bullet. So now if we run this again, what we should notice is that we get the uppercase and lowercase correct. So we shoot at I's, we have an uppercase I, we shoot at an F, lowercase f, and I know this isn't fully on the screen for you guys. And now we shoot at a T, lowercase t, H, I, S. We should get another S here in a moment. Another I and S. Yeah, so everything, the uppercase and lowercase now work properly. And of course, the collision, everything is still working right. We don't collide if it doesn't matter to us. And if it does matter to us, we do collide. I actually want to test that real quick, so we'll run this again. Just because, and it's never centered properly. So now if we just shoot at this, it should actually collide with the I that it gets, and then the next F we get. Let's see, there we go. And I think the only issue with this is it will not automatically handle the space. Since we're only checking word collision, we'll actually have to push spacebar just to make sure that the space gets added. There's probably a way we can handle that, but since we don't plan to be shooting at it, we just didn't really want it to eat our bullets when we shot at it. So our normal method of filling out this objective is going to be holding space. But I'll have to find a way to work around the space thing. What we could do is we could test if the objective win message at the length of the display message is space in the collision. So, when a bullet hits it, if it's a space, just automatically add a space instead. We could do that here. We could do it anywhere. We could, have it in the update function of the objective. But I think it works the way it is for now. So now we need to look at is actually handling the do objective so that we don't shoot the same bullet more than once, because we don't want to be wasting ammo. We don't want to fire, 15 eyes at the objective before, when it only needs one eye. It doesn't fill out all the separate eyes. It's only going to fill out the character that's next in the list. So that the way we need to do that is the temp letter we look for isn't going to be in the display message anymore, because that's not the one we're looking for. That's the one we're accepting. The one we're looking for is going to be at some arbitrary or some counter that we set, which instead of the length of the display message, it's the counter, the position. So once we fire it, we're going to kind of assume it gets to its target. Now, what's wrong with this, assuming it gets to its target, is that what if there's an enemy in the way and it doesn't get to its target? Well, that's where we don't really handle the counter here. So I'll kind of show you what I mean. So let's see, let's find the objective. We have the win message, the display message, and then we're going to add another one called self dot, how would I put this? Character position? And this is going to be equal to 0. So this is the object we're looking for. So the display message always starts at 0. So basically, we're looking for I, which is in the 0th place of the win message. So when we come up here to do objective, temp letter is the objective win message. Instead of at the length of the display message, we're going to be looking at the objective char position. So we're looking at the character position instead. So now this is always going to return 0. So what we're going to see is the objective.winMessage at the character position. So we're looking at position 0. If it's a space, we handle it, right? We handle it, and what we say is objective.characterPosition plus equals 1. And then if it's down here and it gets handled, we do the same thing, objective.characterPosition plus equals 1. So this is very simple. This works nice and easy. So if we actually come up to the main and now we run it, then you'll notice that now we can shoot I and F at the same time, and we actually have, okay, yeah, we need to probably put in the counter first just because weird things are happening right now. So let's see. It's a space, we add 1. If it's normal, we add 1. The main issue that I'm having right here is I don't have some type of timer. So if the win message is not equal to the display message, and we're going to do an and, so if, what would I put this? Self dot objective counter is less than or equal to 0, and the objective display message is not equal to the win message, then we can do our stuff, and I can just say self dot objective counter equals self dot objective counter max. And now these are two variables I actually need to create. So objective counter and objective counter max, somewhere up here probably. So self dot objective counter equals 0, self dot objective counter max equals, what's the cooldown on this? Probably a second? Nah, half a second. Half a second should be fine. OBJV counter, OBJV counter max. Make sure those are spelled right. Good. So now we have some type of cooldown basically on how quickly we can dump letters into the objective. So hopefully this fixes the IF problem. Let's see, do we even have any Fs? We're looking for F, but we don't have it. Oh wait, the counter never goes down, that's why we can't shoot more than one. So do objective, self dot objective counter minus equals 1. That way it goes down by 1 every single tick, and now it should work. Let's wait for me to get a couple letters. I see I and F, I, F, and we're not adding the F, which is still puzzling me. We added I, fine. What are we looking for currently? What do we shoot, I mean? Yeah, we're not handling this right. We have a few spaces. So something's going slightly wrong. Alright, so I've been searching around the code a little bit, trying to figure out why this is an issue, and I think I figured it out. It's not too difficult, it was just confusing me for a bit. What's happening is we're doing most of our character adding right here in this line of code. This is where we add the characters to the display message. However, we add the spaces to the display message right here. So we have two different functions adding to the display message, which is a very bad idea, especially because once this thing shoots off its message, even before the bullet's gotten to it, it adds a space to the message, which means, say we have an I, we've shot an I toward our objective, and then the next thing we need is an F. This function right here will shoot the F. Whoops. This function will shoot the F, and then it will go, okay, the next thing is a space. I'm going to add a space before the F has a chance to collide, and then that of course will throw off the entire collision detection. So we're going to change something up a little bit, and that is going to be this basically. So I'm going to create a temp letter, another temp letter, it's the same thing, and this is of course just going to be equal to the objective.winMessage at the length of the objective.displayMessage, just because I want to keep this thing a little bit easier to see. So this is the thing we're looking for basically. If temp letter dot upper, temp with an M, temp let dot upper, is equal to bullet.name, then all of this can happen, and we can plus equal the template. We can redraw, destroy the bullet, and then I need to add something. Basically what I need to add is if the template is equal to a space, meaning after we've added a letter, after a bullet has collided, if the very next instance, and actually the length of the objective display message, I can't say template, I have to say let's see, we've added the bullet, yeah. If the objective, I have to create a new thing, .win message at the length of the objective .display message. So if this thing, after it's been added to 1, is a space, meaning if the very next character in our win message is a space, what we're going to do is simply just add it. So we're going to say objective.display message plus equals the space. That way, we immediately remove the space from being needed to be added, from the necessity of adding the space. And since we immediately get rid of it after the last bullet hit, it means the very next bullet to collide will automatically be the next one, and the space will already have been handled. And because we handle the space here, what we can do is we completely get rid of our handling of the space over here, because now it is no longer required that we handle it there. And this should fix the problem. I could be wrong, but we'll just have to test it. So let's see. We shoot an I, we shoot an F. Those seem to have worked. Let's build up a couple letters to make sure it's gonna go good for the next spree of them. Let's see, we don't have anything. The F should have been handled, and that's because we're looking for a space. Okay, so the issue is we're now looking for a space, because now that we're using this character position variable here, what's happening is we're looking at the space, which means we probably honestly need this back. But instead of adding it, all we're going to do is increase the character position. Yeah, and then we're going to return because there's no reason for us to be here. And instead of using return, what we could also do is we could just say else and then for shot and self, but it doesn't really matter. So that should fix the issue. And I click debug by mistake. Please go away. We don't want the debugger. Let's just run this. So now that we can look past the space, hopefully everything will work out. I, F, space is automatically handled, so we look for TH this is, and then we'll have an S, and then of course we run out of characters. Let's make sure our collision doesn't do any weird stuff. Nope. We don't care what we look for in collision, which is good. So now it's working the way we want it to. Basically, everything is working out. And now I'm not going to actually use the space. I'm going to just strictly test shooting it. I hits. Let's make sure F hits next. Yep, F hit next. TH. Now we're looking for an S, and this is where it really comes in necessity. Yep, the space still looks for the I and the F. This is where an issue is, because currently when we hit space, we're looking for old characters because they don't update. So that's one thing we can handle, which is a problem, especially if, say we have our enemy over here, right? And we're above it, and we start dumping letters, and the letters hit the enemy instead of going into here, then our counter for the one we're looking for isn't the one we're aiming at. So basically, there's the chance that they can get out of sync, which is an issue because we don't want them out of sync. We want them to be in sync and work properly so that the one that we're looking to collide with is the same one that we've shot. So how might we handle that? Alright, so how we might actually handle resyncing these things is, here's the idea. Say we haven't hit spacebar for a little while. So if we haven't hit spacebar for, like a second, then just set the length when we try to fire the next time. Set the length of, or set the character position to the length of the display message. That way we kind of resync it to the correct thing. Now this will be awkward if we shoot and hold down space, but I think it'll be okay. So let's see, objective counter, we actually need to move this thing. So get rid of it here and actually add it down to the update. Self dot objective counter minus equals 1. That way every single time that the update's called, so every time the player updates, the objective counter will go down. That way, you know, we can hit space once, wait half a second, and then hit space again and have it be all okay. And then we just need to do a quick check about the update counter. So if self.objective counter is less than negative, 30, what we're going to do is we can say objective dot character position equals the length of the win message. And what this does is basically the objective counter always gets reset to plus 15 every time that, we shoot. But if we haven't hit spacebar for, 30 ticks, which is 1 second, then it's just going to resync the character position with the win message. And the reason it waits is because if we're holding down space, then that's where we really wanted the character position, so we can shoot multiple times repeatedly before, the bullets hit the target. But if we stop shooting, then that kind of gives it a little bit of time for the bullets to actually hit the target. So let's test this out, make sure it works. Player active has no... I must have spelled something wrong. Object counter. Huh? Objective oh, I spelled it wrong in the update, didn't I? Yep, capital O. Lowercase o is what we need. So now, if you remember last time, when we shot a couple letters, we hit the I. Let's get an F too, just to make sure it works. Where's the F? There we go. F works. But then when we hit spacebar, everything was desynced. Well, since we haven't hit spacebar for a little while, it's automatically going to resync with the length of the string. So now when we hit space, we get an index out of range. That's terrifying. Was not expecting that. Templater equals objective win message. Objective what? Templater objective win message. Oh, you know what? That's actually because this is not the win message. This is the display message, or it should be the display message. So that's just my bad. Now everything should work the way I expected it to. Let's see, there's an I, there's a T, where's the F? Come on. There we go, 2 characters in. That means when we hit spacebar, when we tried this, it didn't work, and this is still off sync a little bit, or off the screen a little. So now when we hit spacebar, normally it would have given us an issue. Now it's automatically understanding it wants T. And now if we hit it with an S, it has an S. Now it would understand it wants a space and another S. And we get an I. Actually, it wanted a space and an I. This is not another S, so it's actually correcting me this time. It's working so well, it's fixing my own errors. And now that we have everything we want, it should be working okay. There we have it. Now the message is actually, properly syncing with itself. So we can hold down space and, deal with the character position and shoot a bunch of them in a string. But if it ever off syncs, we just stop holding space for a second, and it will resync itself to what the display message wants next for a character, and then it will start working again. So now we actually have the means to resync it if something ever were to happen, to unsync it, and that allows it to work much better. So, and of course if we've been holding space down the whole time, it just keeps running the way it is. So hopefully everything should work now very well. And I believe we're going to leave it at that for this video. I'm not sure what we're going to do next time. We have an objective, we have, a basic enemy, we have our player, we have a little bit of a game going on. Probably want to get some way to score us. So, like we get 5 points every time we kill an enemy, or we get, 25 points every time we complete an objective. And the thing that's nice about the objective is when we pass an objective, we can actually specify the active objective back over here in main. So if we go over to our spacebar, we just send in the objective. We can actually have multiple objectives. So after we complete one, we can, create a new one and then use that one to pass through. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you next time when we will probably work on some type of scoring system.